Novak Djokovic is one of the greatest tennis players of all time. He's captured the attention of fans and critics alike because of his unparalleled skills on the tennis court. And he is definitely one of my favourite, maybe my favourite tennis player. But what if there was more to his success than just hard work, a lot of hard work, and talent? Well, today I'm going to look at Novak's human design. I'm going to take a deep dive into his unique soul blueprint. Using his human design, we're going to see who Novak came here to be this lifetime, as well as the challenges that he's more prone to face as well. So let's take a look into his human design chart now. Welcome to the human design of Novak Djokovic, also known as the greatest of all time, the GOAT. All right, Novak was born in Belgrade, Serbia. That makes him a manifesting generator. Manifesting generators are known for being busy. They are multitaskers. They like to have lots of things on the go at once, and their brain can handle it. They are designed to be focusing on lots of different things from the outside world. Sometimes manifesting generators look a little bit scattered because they're doing so many things, but to them it's natural, it's normal, and it's actually healthy. Manifesting generators make up 32% of the population, so there's a lot of them around. Now, manifesting generators are designed to follow what lights them up and to respond to the world. That is their strategy. But they are also here to skip the steps that a lot of us think are necessary to do. So they can do things very, very efficiently and do them in a much shorter space of time, because they can see we can go from step 1 to step 5 and then to step 6 and then step 9, step 10, rather than going 1 to 10, because their brain can naturally do that when they are following their strategy and when they are following their authority. Now, as I said, his strategy is to respond to the world. So he is coming from that sacral place of recognizing when things light him up, when it's a yes, and acting on that. And then when something does not light him up, that's a no. And then having the inner authority to say no to the thing that doesn't light him up. Okay. Now, he's actually a double responder because his authority is sacral, which is down here. And the sacral authority is designed to respond. So Novak's designed to respond to the world in a very, very strong way, in an efficient way. And what does a tennis player do? Well, they respond to what's happening on the other side of the net. Of course, they try to dominate the game as well, but it's all about responding. So the game of tennis, I guess you could say, is a sacral type of game. Interesting perspective. I just came through then. All right. So his signature theme is satisfaction, which means he's designed to feel satisfied at the end of the day, satisfied with the things that he does, satisfied with his choices. The healthy emotion for him is satisfaction. On the other side, frustration is something that shows Novak he's not in alignment with his true self. So if he reaches the end of the day and he's like, oh, that was so frustrating. Or if he's in a project and following something through, it's like, oh, this is so annoying. Oh, I'm frustrated. Okay, it's time to step back and go, is this something that you were responding with your sacral appropriately to? Did you follow the yes and the no when they came through? It's something to question. So satisfaction is the most healthy theme for Novak, and it helps to bring him the greatest sense of joy in his world as well. Now, his profile is a 2-4. The 2 is the natural. The 2 is just naturally fantastic at something. And we're all good at things. But these 2s, there's this thing that you look at and you're like, whoa, you are so good at that. Okay, for him, yeah, it's the tennis, I would say. There may be other things, but to the greater world, we know that he is the natural at playing tennis. Of course, it's hard work as well, but there's obviously a natural talent there. Now, the 4 is all about networking with other people. It's about his connection and his relationships to other people. So for Novak, it's the opportunist. The 4 is the opportunist, which means his opportunities come through his network of people that he knows, his family, his friends, I guess even his fans as well. So the things that he needs, let's think about tennis when he's on the tennis court, using his number 2 profile natural abilities, playing his tennis, responding, using his strategy and his authority, his natural way. So he's doing his 2 thing on the tennis court. And then the 4 comes in and he needs the support from the crowd to cheer him on. It's the 4 energy coming in to go, oh, we have what you need here. Here you are. Here's the support. Please go win the game. We love you. So that's how the 2-4 energy profile could fit into the tennis game, if you wanted to put it into that type of context. And in this context, we certainly do. Now, Novak's incarnation cross is called the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's made up of these 4 energies here. His conscious sun and earth, and his unconscious sun and earth. So that makes him a 20, 34, 55, 59. Now, the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix is all about, this is essentially his life purpose, which comes when he lives in alignment with his strategy and authority. It naturally comes through him. Now, it says, the energy you carry is about being busy. It doesn't matter what you are doing, you just know that being busy is what you need to be. There is a strong degree of individualism in this energy, and from that you can derive strength or aloneness, joy or melancholy. You can be busy and be happy, or you can be busy with your sadness. Finding the happiness is up to you. Now, we know that being on the tennis circuit keeps him very busy, and he's also got other charities on the side that keeps him busy as well. So he certainly seems from the outside world right now to be in alignment with this busy energy. Is he happy? Well, we don't know, but he certainly seems like most of the time there is a lot of satisfaction coming through him. So finding the happiness is up to you is the key here. It comes back to the strategy and the authority so that he can determine what brings happiness to him through his busyness. Now, let's break that down. So his conscious sun right here is in gate 20, which is called contemplation, the gate of now. It's in the energy center of the throat, which is right here. It's a manifestation center. Now, in its highest expression, the gate 20 has a strong presence and an awareness of the now in this moment. These people are mindful of each moment, self-assured, and they trust that everything is happening in divine order. They don't need to constantly look back to the past and go, oh, what was going on there? They don't live in the past world. They don't live in the potential of the future. They can tap on that, but come back and know that their presence, their strength lives in the now, in the moment. But from its shadow expression, this energy struggles to see other people's problems, and they're unconcerned about how they impact other people. They may even seem detached and emphasize speaking rather than taking action. Now, it's most likely Novak goes from the highest and the shadow perspective in different times of these energies because he is human. That is what we all do, go between the two, and that's perfectly okay. But it does seem like, especially with his tennis, he knows very much about being in the now. Now, the body part that this gate 20 is related to is the brainstem and the medulla in the brain. Now, the brainstem and the medulla, they help control vital processes like breathing, heart rate, swallowing, and sleep. Now, my friends, this is where it gets very interesting. When Novak is coming from his higher perspective, he's innately aware of how important the brainstem and the medulla are in his life path, and how to make the most of them and how to use them in his world. Okay, so this is an extract from a 60 Minutes interview, which highlights that Novak is very much coming from the higher perspective of these energies, at least when he's playing tennis most of the time. So the heading is Novak Djokovic says hungry young tennis players awaken a beast in him. And Novak said, even though there is no physical contact in tennis, there's still a lot of eye contact. When we are changing ends, when we're sitting on the bench, and then the big screen shows to Novak how the other player drinks water. Then Novak is looking at the other player. He's questioning to himself, how is he drinking the water? Is he sweating more than usual? Is he breathing deeply or not deeply? So he's very aware of the breathing, of these processes which relate to this gate 20, both in himself and in other people. The interview continued, and the interviewer said, you train for the mental side the way you would your serve or your forehand. How? Novak says, absolutely. Well, there are different techniques. And then what does he choose to highlight? Conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is a big part, especially in the moments when you're under tension. So yes, we all know that we all need to breathe. And all tennis players know that they need to breathe in quite a particular way. But we can see that Novak is designed to be especially conscious of his breath, of his breathing. However, when Novak's coming from the shadow perspective, he's vulnerable to issues in the area of breathing, of issues to do with his brainstem and his medulla. This is shown here in a Tennis World article, which quotes Novak, I was always struggling with a respiratory problem. This is also a quote from the same article. I was always struggling with a respiratory problem, a kind of mild version of asthma and suffocation during the night for many years since I was 7 years old. So since a child, this area has been of weakness to him. So being in the now may have been a challenge to him as a child. And I could see how that is possible because he went through a lot of bombings in Belgrade at that time in the early 90s. So wanting to be in the now in that moment, you would have to be, but you could also see how you'd want to escape that as well into the past or a future time so that you don't have to deal with that pressure. Now, the article continued. The place where I felt the most of these respiratory issues was always on the tennis court. That's where, emotions kick in, expectation, pressure, and when you mix it all together, you get a formula that is causing you to really experience some major health problems on the court. So, of course, the emotions are a very important part of triggering this issue for him, triggering whether he's in the moment or not influences that breathing, how it's manifesting in his world. So interesting. So yes, Novak's breathing can be his superpower. It can also be his weakness. Now, interestingly, Novak has the 2034 channel of charisma connected to his conscious sun. So here's his 20 that we're talking about. It's connected all the way down here to his 34. So it's kind of making the 20 even stronger. Now, this is the pure manifesting generator channel, okay? Because it's connecting the sacral energy down here, that response, that energy motor. So we can see that he has a lot of energy because he's a manifesting generator, because he has his sacral center defined, and it's connected to the throat, which is a manifesting center. There's also a lot of energy it can come from this area as well. So just by knowing that these two areas are defined and they're connected, we know, whew, this dude has a lot of energy and he has a lot of ability to, when he's responding to the world in the way that he ought to, with his yes and his no's awareness, to generate these ideas after the response and then bring them out into the world and create an outcome that would bring to him satisfaction. These people have a deep desire to be busy, and they can become the true masters of living in the now. These people are also designed to respond in the moment and take action very quickly. And it's because this sacral is connected to this manifesting center here. It means that the action can come through a lot quicker. They can also feel a psychological pressure and a physical need to be active because busyness is such a huge part of who they are and what they feel like they need to do. And these people are healthiest and the happiest when they're constantly strategizing, traveling, moving, basically when they are active. So I would also add in there, for Novak, he's healthiest and he's happiest at the moment when he's playing tennis, because it's moving and it's a psychological game and it's a physical game. Now, the channel of charisma, these people create miraculous manifestations and they ooze natural charm and charisma when they are following their strategy and their authority. In this case, for Novak, to respond. When he's responding, he can be the most charismatic guy on the earth, and people can really listen to him and he can really create big change because people want to listen. But not operating from his strategy and his authority can lead to confusion, and that's when he may become involved with projects or ideas that lead to frustration and potential regret. So really following your strategy and your authority is important when you have this channel, to ensure that you're not leading yourself into that deep frustration, that regret and confusion, which contributes also to health problems. Let's look at the energy that balances that sun energy, which is in the now, which is right here. It's 34. It's called the power of the great. Sorry, it's called, the power of the great, the gate of power. There's a lot of power there. It lives in his sacral center. It's right here. So hello, it's what we're just talking about. It's the connection. It's the 20 to the 34. So we can also already know, without reading any more, like, okay, this is powerful to have this, these two energies connected here, being your sun and your earth connected through a channel here. That's a lot of power, man. All right, so in its highest expression, these people trust their body's intelligence in the now. So not only is Novak designed to trust and live in the now through his sun energy, his earth energy also wants him to live in the now, but through his body, being in alignment and aware of what his body needs and wants and is capable of. These people have an inexhaustible reserve of physical energy, physical strength, and determination, and they can make difficult tasks look easy. Well, I would think all of these traits are something that the greatest of all time tennis players would want and need. Now, from a shadow perspective, these people can operate from force rather than strength. So this is when he's out of alignment, rather than knowing his inner strength and having the patience and living in the now to take action and respond. He might just force things to happen. When he does that, that's when he gets frustrated. That's when things don't go his way. These people can also become self-absorbed and frustrated that they're not using their power in the now. Now, the body part this is related to is the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is involved in the regulation of digestion, heart rate, breathing, again the breathing, as well as reflex actions like coughing, sneezing, swallowing, and pardon me, I said swallowing and I couldn't swallow. Swallowing and vomiting. Okay, so health-wise, this is interesting. Now, we know, thinking about the vagus nerve, there's a plane outside. Please disregard that noise. Okay, the vagus nerve and the brainstem and the medulla relates to breathing. So again, Novak, I was always struggling with a respiratory problem. Also related to the vagus nerve, an issue that Novak has suffered with. I'll read a quote from an article in The Independent, a UK publication. Djokovic was 2-1 up against the Frenchman. We're talking about Jo-Wilfried Tsonga here. When he suffered another of the physical crises that had bedeviled his career. He had trouble breathing, hello vagus nerve and brainstem and medulla, and vomited, hello vagus nerve, violently during a toilet break. His strength was zapped, and he won only 4 games in the last 2 sets as Tsonga coasted to victory. So we would think here that the vagus nerve is involved in these issues that he had that were plaguing him for a while, and the brainstem and medulla were involved as well. Interestingly, what we're talking about, the reason he was in the bathroom throwing up on the toilet, had issues breathing, was related to his digestion. Right here. It was discovered that Novak had a gluten sensitivity. He's also, I believe, sensitive to dairy. But we're talking about gluten right now. And we know that gluten sensitivity disrupts gut health and disrupts the efficient working of the vagus nerve. Okay, so they're all connected. So very interesting to note how those 2 gates, the 20 and the 34, are influencing his breathing and his digestion in both positive and not so positive ways. Now, let's jump over here to his unconscious sun, which is 55, abundance, the gate of spirit. It lives in his solar plexus, which is over here. And from the highest potential, these people are true romantics, and they acknowledge their emotions in all circumstances. So they're very deeply connected to their emotions. Now, these people also have many challenges. They're prone to many challenges, and they realize that the old must fall in order for new and better things to be built. Okay? Their ultimate goal is to spread love and freedom via trust and surrender. Well, I think that Novak is embodying this unconscious sun energy quite beautifully when we look at his involvement in the Novak Djokovic Foundation. It's a charity where they support children to have the ability and all the resources to attend preschool. So it supports children as they begin their educational years. Novak and his wife, the 2 of them here, they're very, very deeply involved in this foundation, and I believe it's his strongest commitment and interest outside of tennis. It's a true romantic notion, true romantic emotional notion. Woohoo, listen to that. To really want to support the children of the world, the children in Serbia in this case, to have all the educational needs and resources met. It's unfortunate that it's romantic, but in this place and space and time where we live, it's romantic to want to save everyone, and they're doing their best to do that. Now, from a shadow perspective in this energy down here, these people can feel like a victim of life or experience lots of drama. They're prone to cycles of hope and cycles of pain. And how they perceive these energies is key to their well-being, both mental well-being and physical well-being. Sometimes they can be seen as dramatic, and it's unhealthy it's very unhealthy actually, when these people feel disconnected from their emotions. Okay, so let's focus on this. These people can feel like a victim of life or experience lots of drama. Okay, so I did touch on this before. Let's think about the drama that Novak has endured just from a small perspective. Novak Djokovic, how a kid from war-torn Belgrade beat the odds. He did beat the odds to become the greatest of all time tennis player, as of the making of this video. But as a child, his home, his neighborhood was bombed where he was in Belgrade. Like, he had to endure the challenge of living amongst war. That is obviously a very deep challenge to overcome. Another challenge that Novak had to overcome is when he was in Australia and he wanted to play at the Australian Open. And Djokovic claims he was made villain of the world over the Australian COVID row. You probably know the thing. I'm not going to go into it. Whether he was vaxxed or not vaxxed was a big determinant as to whether he could come into the country one year to play in the Australian Open. But yeah, he was made into, he felt like the villain of the world, and he certainly felt like he embodied that victim energy at that time. So we know he's prone to feeling cycles of hope and pain, but it's all about his perception in how he gets through that, which will make or break how he feels and how he continues in the world. So that just shows, yeah, that I'm not going to say unfortunately, that he is designed to experience a lot of ups and downs in his life. And he's certainly going through that. Now, the body part that this 55 relates to is called the dorsal ganglia. Now, the dorsal ganglia is involved in recognizing sensory information like pain, touch, vibration, and temperature, all things that are very important for a tennis player. Now, the amino acid related to this part of the body, to the dorsal ganglia, is histidine. Okay. Now, histidine is used for growth and repairing damaged tissues. Oh, very important for a tennis player as well. Here we go. So, as a tennis player, dealing with pain and recovering from damaged tissues is a part of daily life. So, having pain, the ability to recognize touch, sensation, vibration, differences in temperature, we'll include sweating in that as well. It's all natural for Novak to be acutely aware of these things. Now, does Novak have a higher potential for his histidine to be more efficient because he has this gate in his unconscious sun? I have no studies to say that is the case. However, I do say it's an interesting thought that his body may be more efficient at working with histidine, therefore, or he may be more efficient at finding the ways that help his body work with the histidine. So two different perspectives there, or give the same end result, that they may support the growth and the repair of his damaged tissues through tennis, because the muscles will be damaged all the time because of the extreme workout that they get. Maybe he can heal and repair more efficiently because of this placement. Interesting thought. Now, let's look at the unconscious earth energy, which is over here, the 59, which helps to ground, balance, and regulate this 55 sun energy on an unconscious level that we just spoke about. Now, the 59 is called dispersion, the gate of sexuality. It lives in the sacral center, down here. And in its highest expression, this is a powerful, attractive, and magnetic person. Their aura is all of these powerful things people notice unconsciously. These people love to break down barriers, any barriers that stand in the way of union between people. It's a very tribal energy. They also strive for honesty and intimacy in all relationships and they're masters at reading the room and reading people to know what they need, even without the people necessarily saying it. From a shadow perspective, there can be dishonesty that comes through every now and then. So if there's ever dishonesty in Novak's world, or coming from Novak, then that is hugely destabilizing for his body, mind, and spirit because of this placement. So from a shadow perspective, these people may feel like a victim to relationships, and they may even try to use their charm in underhanded way to get what they want. So it kind of goes back to being dishonest. Dishonesty really does not serve Novak. Now, the 59 relates to the sexual organs and the sacral plexus. I'm not going to comment on the sexual organs in this video. However, the sacral plexus is quite interesting. The sacral plexus is a nerve bundle that provides motor and sensory nerves for the posterior thigh, most of the lower leg, the entire foot, and part of the pelvis. Okay, well, thinking of that part of the body, look what he does. Look at this. All this action through here with his legs. This is drawing significantly on, look at that, on his sacral plexus. So much demand on that part of the body for him. So Novak has a natural strength in his sacral plexus when he's operating from his higher potential. I could watch this all day. I do love watching Novak. Okay, good job. So what does this tell us about Novak? Well, the sun and the earth energies are 4 of the most important gates in your human design. And we're talking from a conscious and an unconscious perspective, okay? So embodying the higher expression of these energies helps you fulfill your potential and your life purpose. However, when you're not aligned with the higher potential of these energies, it can lead to struggles and health problems. And when you become, or if you become significantly out of alignment with these energies, significantly disconnected from the highest expression of these 4 energies in particular, that's when your Saturn energy wakes up, okay? Now, this Saturn energy may have contributed to some of Novak's injuries and his immune system issues. But first, what is Saturn in human design? Well, for me, it's one of my most favorite placements to look at because it reveals so much about someone's well-being. And being a naturopath and a human design analyst, I really want to zone in on that and go, okay, what can we learn about your well-being from this placement? But from another perspective, your Saturn energy usually leaves you alone, okay? If you are listening to and acting on your personal truth. However, it's when you stray from your authenticity that Saturn wakes up and places a challenge in your path. Now, this is meant to slow you down. It's meant to feel heavy because it's meant to create the opportunity for you to look at your life and address what is not working, okay? The reason that you're out of alignment. So Saturn is trying to stop you drifting further from your purpose and your authenticity and help you realign with your life. So that basically, the less you visit this energy, the more you are activating your innate gifts and living authentically, okay? So let's look at Novak's. So he has unconscious and conscious Saturn in the same sign, which is really in the same gate, which is really interesting because that's not the case for everyone. So this energy we're going to describe is naturally very strong for him. It's in the gate 26, which is called Taming Power of the Great, the Gate of the Egoist. Now, interestingly, this 26 also is Novak's unconscious moon, which is up here. So we've got 3 placements of the 26. So this is extra important for Novak. So what is the moon energy? The moon is your motivating force. It's your why. It's the unconscious reason that you do what you do, okay? Now, to go deeper, the 26, which is here, connects to, via this channel, the 44. So Novak has the 26-44 channel. Now the 44 is in his Pluto, which is down here. So the conscious and the unconscious Pluto. So he's got double 44 and double triple 26. Okay, so we know that these energies we're about to talk about are very, very important for him. Now, this channel through here, the 26 to the 44, forms the channel of surrender, also known as the channel of the entrepreneur, which he most certainly is. However, with heavy Saturn and Pluto energies converging here, so Pluto likes to break things down. Pluto wants to transform things because it sees a higher potential in something. But Pluto's hard. It doesn't just go, ooh, we'll knock this over, ooh, get rid of this. It comes in with like a sledgehammer and goes bang, bang, bang. Let's get rid of this thing because we don't need it. Unfortunately, it's usually quite challenging. So this 44 here is, yes, it's a heavy energy that wants to create change and evolution, but it's often a challenging path to get there. So combine that Pluto energy with the Saturn energy, which can also slow you down if you're not in alignment with your highest potential. And yeah, that can be quite hard. Okay. So with, as I was saying, heavy Saturn and Pluto energies converging here, this is significant for him. Novak is prone to deep challenges if he's not being authentic, but he also has the potential to create great change in the world, really help evolve this planet when he is in alignment. Okay, so yeah, some big stuff. So to get back to the 26, which is his Saturn, which is what we're mainly talking about, it is in the heart center, right here in his defined heart. And from the highest perspective, this energy is committed to getting results. It's skillful. These people are skillful, talented, they're persuasive, they're mesmerizing, and they're even very happy to be in the limelight. They're not going to shy away from the spotlight when it comes on them. They're natural salespeople, and ideally they use their gifts in service to others without needing recognition for their contribution. Okay, so Novak will be coming from his heart, will likely be coming from this highest potential when he's using it in his unconscious moon. But if he's not using his unconscious moon, or actually any of these energies here, or any of these energies particularly, so these 5 energies, when they are coming from more of a shadow perspective, well, the shadow perspective of the 26 can wake up, okay, which is the Saturn. And this is when this will cause these people to not keep their promises, or they exaggerate how they can be of service, okay? It's also when their ego becomes overly inflated, so they get a big head from their achievements. So acting without asking how it can be of service can also be detrimental. So I think Novak has a strong potential to act from both the highest and sometimes maybe more or less likely, but still both expressions of this 26 energy, okay? Now the 26 is related to the sacral plexus. As a reminder, this is a nerve bundle that innervates the posterior thigh, the lower leg, the foot, and part of the pelvis. Okay, hello, remember we played this video before and we said that Novak has a natural inclination to access the power in his sacral plexus to his advantage. However, he's also prone to injuries in this area because he works his sacral plexus so hard. Okay, and here's just one example of an article that says Novak had a 3 centimeter tear. Djokovic's remarkable injury toll revealed in record Grand Slam win. Serbian superstar Novak Djokovic won the Australian Open while battling a 3 centimeter tear in his hamstring, also known as his sacral plexus. Okay, so he's from a a zoomed out perspective, we could say, okay, was something trying to slow him down with that injury? Was there something he was meant to learn, tweak in his life? I'm not sure. Around that time, the injury suggests there was something important that he needed to look at in his world. Okay? Now, in addition to the sacral plexus in this 26, it's also related to his thymus gland. What is the thymus gland? Well, it's part of his immune system. You need a healthy thymus gland in order to have a healthy immune system. It's in the middle of the chest, and you can stimulate it by thumping the center of your chest. That directly stimulates your thymus gland, okay? Now, he's 44 in his Pluto down here. Interestingly, also relates to his immune system. So there's a lot of immune system activity going on in this guy. Okay, so as a reminder, the New York Times, their article spoke about, we know, everyone knows that Djokovic had COVID. He actually had it a couple of times, at least, that we know about. Yes, there was controversy around that, but he has had some significant immune issues relating to COVID and that type of infection. And remember that gluten-free diet we were talking about before? A gluten sensitivity is also related to the immune system. It's an immune reaction that creates that gluten sensitivity, as well as some other things going on. Generally, there's an Epstein-Barr virus that's part of the equation as well. I do not know if Novak had that. A lot of us have it without even knowing. It's I'm not going to say it's a popular thing to have, but it's very common to have EBV, Epstein-Barr virus, and then for it to contribute to disrupting the immune system and then disrupting the way that the body processes gluten. All right. So just as a side educational note there. So thanks to Saturn and Pluto, I suggest that Novak's immune system will need support and monitoring his entire life. His chart shows that it can be his strength, but there's also a lot of energy there that shows he could have a lot of challenges in his immune system area. We all have something, and that is just one for him, okay? Oh yes, interestingly as well, we're talking about the potential in his Pluto to create transformational change through challenge, through the knocking down of big barriers. Well, as a reminder, the whole COVID debacle when he wasn't allowed, when he was in Australia, the whole issue there, the article from the Telegraph says Novak Djokovic debacle. Does his immunity from infection provide as much protection as a vaccine? So he's sparking a debate around the immune system, around an area in his chart that is meant to contribute to making change and evolution in the world and within himself as well. His immune system may be challenging sometimes, but it can also be helping to create a positive transformation in the world as well. So yay for that. So yeah, it's because of his Saturn and Pluto that Novak has sparked debates around the immune system, debates that may help evolve humanity. So what might the future look like for Novak? Well, we can maybe get a sense of that by looking at his South Node energies, which is here, and his North Node energies, which are here, okay? So what happens is that we come into this world living our South Node energy. It's something that comes naturally to us, and it's something that we may have mastered or experienced in a past life. It's just something we do that is just organic for us in our world, okay? We express this up until about 40 years of age, and for Novak, it's the gate 40 in both the conscious, 48 in both the unconscious and the conscious placement. And the 48 is the gate of depth, okay? And it's about diving into the well within yourself to explore your depth and then to embody what you learn, okay? These people with the 48, they generally don't just want to talk about the weather. They don't care. It's like, let's have the deep conversations. Let's have the important conversations in this world. The things that matter, because they're the ones that are going to create transformation. They're diving deep down, okay? These people also nurture the connection between their body and their mind. Well, Novak definitely does that. And then they eventually become a source of wisdom, okay? Now, when you hit around 40 years old, this is for everyone, so late 30s to early 40s, we all go through what's called your Uranus opposition, okay? More commonly known as a midlife crisis. It doesn't have to be a crisis of sorts, but for, I'm going to say, almost the majority of the population, there is some type of crisis comes in when we shift through a Uranus opposition from this south node energy to the north node energy. So the north node energy is what we're learning to step into, what we have chosen as our next level of learning and embodiment for the second half of our life, okay? So for Novak, that is gate 21, which is here, unconscious and conscious, all right? So it's called the manager, and his 21, which is here, connects to the 45, okay? That channel, it's called the channel of money. And he seems to be doing pretty well. So that is an interesting point, which I may touch on later. So I suggest he will become even more ready for anything. He's prepared to deal with whatever comes on his path. He already is. He's designed for that, but I suggest he will step into that even further, and he will be learning to release a need for control as he gets older and to trust more of those around him. Okay. He will also be stepping into positions of authority and having the courage to face challenges and confront danger, even if it feels like a battle. Now, yes, it does sound like he's done all this already, but it does seem like it's been a training ground for what is coming in the second part of his life, because I suggest that will be amplified even more. So to expand on what could the future look like for Novak? Well, after tennis, he could potentially step further into positions of power, be seen as an authority in business. So authority in tennis now, that could shift to business later on. Be seen as an authority in business who knows how to manage others as well as money in very mindful ways. He could also continue to generate financial success for himself and his charity, whatever brings him the most joy and the most satisfaction. So having that channel of money, I think he's really going to tap into that even more so in the second part of his life. And I do feel he has the strong likelihood to use his material wealth to provide resources for himself and his tribe to continue sharing it around to make a positive difference in the world. Okay, so that was fascinating, right? I love how Novak's human design is matching beautifully Novak's life and how he's expressing his energy into the world. Now, if you have found any value in this video, I would adore it if you could please click the like button, maybe even share, maybe even subscribe to this channel. I appreciate all the love and support that you send my way. Now, if you are interested in having a human design chart reading yourself, that is what I do. I am a qualified human design analyst and a qualified naturopath. So there is all the details below. If you are interested in having a human design reading yourself, you're also welcome to send me a message, ask any questions, because I'm always happy to help. In the meantime, I thank you for sharing this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.